The Golden Goose, a funny little story by the Grimm brothers. Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Jadwiga, your fairy tale teller. Once upon a time, there was a father who had 3 sons. But the youngest, they thought he was stupid because they only called him Peabrain. And whenever he did something wrong, they laughed at him and called him Peabrain. So one day, the father told the oldest son to go into the wood and chop some wood. And the mother made him a nice pancake with butter and milk and gave him a bottle of wine to go into the woods. Well, when he came there, there was a tiny gray-haired little man who said, "Oh, please, I'm so hungry. I'm so thirsty. Please give me some of your pancake and your wine, a little sip." But the boy looked at him and said, "Well, what I give you, this is not left for me. So why should I do that? Just care about your own business." And he went on. He started chopping a tree, but after a very short time, he hit his arm with the axe, and so he had to go home to get it bandaged. Now the father sent the second son, and he too got a nice pancake from his mother and a bottle of wine, and he too met this gray-haired little man, and he asked him, "Oh, please, I'm so hungry and thirsty. Please give me a little bit of your pancake and a sip of your wine." "Tch, why should I?" said the boy. "You care about your own business. This is mine, and I won't share it with you." And off he went. But after he had started cutting the wood, he hit his leg with the axe, and he had to be carried home. And now the youngest son, said to his father, "Oh, please let me go. Let me go into the forest and chop wood." "You have no idea about wood chopping," said the father. "No, you don't." But the youngest Peabrain started and did not stop asking and asking. So eventually the father said, "Okay, you go. And if you hurt yourself, you might maybe at least learn something from that." And his mother made him a pancake, but just with water instead of milk. And she baked it in the ashes. And instead of the nice red wine, the youngest only got a bottle of sour beer. Now, he came into the forest, and you know already, he also met this little man. And when he asked him, "Oh, please, I'm so hungry, I'm so thirsty, please share your pancake and your wine with me," the boy said, "I'm sorry, I only have a little pancake that is made with water, and it's baked in the ashes, and I have no wine. I just have a sour beer. But if you want to share that with me, sit down, let's have a meal." And surprisingly, this pancake had turned into the most delicious pancake the young boy had ever eaten. And the sour beer was wine, the best wine you could imagine. So they shared their meal, and at the end, the old boy, the old man said to the young boy, "You have been friendly. You have shared your meal with me. So I give you an advice. You go over and chop down this tree, and there you will find something really amazing." And with these words, he had disappeared. The boy did as the old man had told him. He chopped down this tree, and within these roots, there was sitting a goose. But not just an ordinary goose. This goose had golden feathers. And the boy took that goose, took it under his arm, and went to an inn where he wanted to spend the night. Now, the innkeeper had 3 daughters, and they, seeing this golden goose with golden feathers, well, the eldest thought, I will wait for a little moment, for a good moment where I have the choice to just take one of these feathers because I want to have a golden feather. And really, the young man left the room for a little moment, and this girl secretly approached the goose, but as she wanted to pull out one of the feathers, she got stick to the goose. She couldn't let go. And short time later, her sister came with the same idea. And the same thing happened. When she tried to grab one of the feathers, she stuck and couldn't let go of the goose. Now the 3rd sister came, and the other 2 said, don't touch it, don't touch the goose, don't touch it. But she thought, oh, they don't want to share their feathers, they want them for their own. No, I will get my feather too. And she got stuck too. Now the next morning, the young man with the goose under his arm and the 3 ladies following him, he went to the next village. When the pastor came along, saw this and said, hey, you girls, is this an appropriate behavior for young girls to follow a young man through the fields? How dare you? And he stepped to them and wanted to push them away, but got stuck too. And the same thing happened to the sexton, who came shortly after the pastor, and he too wanted to get the pastor and the girls off that young man, but he got stuck too. Now they met 2 farmers, and the pastor and the sexton and the 3 girls said, oh, please, please help us to get rid of that goose. But the 2 farmers, it happened the same to them. They got stick on that goose too. So with 7 people behind him, the goose under his arm, the young man went into the city because he had heard that the king's daughter had never, ever laughed in her whole life. She was a very serious girl. And the king had said, whoever makes my daughter laugh, whoever succeeds to make her happy and burst out laughing, he shall marry her. So the young man with the goose under his arm and the 7 people following, he just passed the window of the princess. And she looked out down there onto the road, and she started laughing. She couldn't stop laughing because this was so funny that she couldn't help herself but laughing, burst out laughing. And now the young man went to the king and said, well, I want to marry your daughter. But the king, he did not want his daughter to get married to a Peabrain. So he said, well, no, before you can do that, you have to find a man who is able to drink all the wine barrels in my wine cellar within 1 day. And if you don't succeed, no daughter. Now, what should he do? He went back to the place where he first had met the old man. And really, there was a tiny man sitting and complaining, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty. I have already drunk 10 bottles of water and even more and the whole half a lake, but I'm still so thirsty. Oh, said the boy, I can help you, come with me. And he brought that man into the wine cellar of the king, and within one day, all the barrels in the king's wine cellar were empty. Now the young man said, "Well, I have done what you wanted. Now give me your daughter." "No, no, no, no," said the king. "No, no. First, you have to bring me a man who is able to eat a whole mountain of bread within one day." Again, the young man went to that place where he had met the old man, and there sat a tiny little man, complaining. He was so hungry, so hungry. He had already eaten so much, but he was still hungry. There was no chance to get him satisfied. "Oh," said the young man, "I can help you. Come with me." Meanwhile, all the flour in the whole country had been baked to a huge mountain of bread. And that man started eating, eating, eating. And within a whole day, all of the mountain had disappeared. Now, again, the young boy went to the king and said, "I want to marry your daughter." But the king still could not give in. And he said, "Well, bring me a boat that is able to sail and on water and on land." And as you know already, he went to that place with the old man. There he was sitting and said, "Well, I was the one who drank the wine, and I was the one who ate that bread. And now you should have this boat." And with this boat, the young man sailed towards the castle of the king and said, "Now, I want your daughter." And now the king had no chance to deny it again. The wedding was celebrated, and the two young people became very happy. And after the king had passed away, Peabrain inherited the kingdom. He became king, his wife queen, and together they ruled the country. And I think their people, was very happy with them. Again, a king who does not keep his promises. A king who promises something, and then when it comes to fulfill that promise, he denies, and he has new tasks. We know that from many, many fairy tales. And I always think these are weak people. These kings are very weak. They don't stand to their words. I mean, they should think first and then make a promise. But no, they don't. And most of the time in the fairy tales, it's kings. I only know one where a woman does that, and this is Cinderella. Her stepmother says, "Well, you put the lentils out of the ashes, and then you may come with us to the feast." But all the birds help her, and she does. And again, the stepmother has a new job and a new job for her, so that she cannot come to that feast. Anyway, this is another story where we have three sons. In others, it's three daughters, but it's always the youngest who is meant to be stupid and unable to do anything. But he or she manages to solve the problem, to succeed in what the others couldn't. The super wise and smart ones, they don't succeed, but the youngest does. And this is because he or she is still in their heart. They are not, their ego is not so strong yet, just like the elders who say, I don't share my meal or my wine with you. But the youngest do that. The youngest, they feel compassion with a being that is hungry, and they share their meal. So now the thing with the golden goose is quite funny, and I wonder why the girls do not just ask the young men, well, may we have a feather of your goose? That would have been possible. They could have asked, but they obviously they don't even have this idea. Their only thought is to steal it. And as we all know, stealing never comes to a happy end. And the pastor, this moral institution, he gets upset when he sees the three little young girls following that young man. This is not appropriate behavior. But he gets trapped too. And so does the sexton and the farmers, whereas the farmers just want to help. The people hanging on that goose, they ask them for help and they want to help. And okay, that's it. Yes, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this little story and see you next time, hopefully. Bye.